Hi, in this video, I am going to show you the 7 challenges that single people face with adoption and how to overcome them. There are so many single people who are adopting every day. Single people can adopt a newborn, they can adopt from foster care, they can also adopt internationally. And as a matter of fact, in 2019, there was a survey that was done, and it was shown that 1/3 of the people who adopted from foster care were single people. Now, before they adopted, they were facing the same challenges that you did. They weren't sure how to overcome the stigma of being single, how to compete fairly with married adoptive couples. And that's what I'm going to be sharing in this video today. Now, if you skip even one part of this video, you're not going to get the full picture of all of the challenges that single people face and how you can overcome them. And that could be the reason why you keep struggling with starting your adoption as a single person. So before I get into that, click that subscribe button. If you want to adopt successfully, whether you're single or whether you're married, I post a new video every week on all things regarding adoptions, whether it's newborn or foster care. And in addition to that, I created a free class that shows you the 3 biggest mistakes that hopeful adoptive parents make and how to avoid them. You can get the free class by clicking the link in the comments below. The free class is going to help you avoid the 3 biggest, most common mistakes that hopeful adoptive parents make so that you can avoid making those same mistakes and walk through your adoption journey a lot smoother. So click the link below to get access to the class. All right, challenge number 1 is stigma and bias. So there is a stigma on just being single in general. So when you're an adult and you're single and you say you're wanting to adopt, if you're scrolling through Facebook groups or you're going on social media at all, you're going to see so many horror stories. I don't know how many single people I've talked to who wanted to adopt, and they're saying, I've been waiting for 5 years and I still haven't adopted. I've been waiting for 4 years and I'm not going anywhere. Or, you'll read people that say, man, it took me so long to finally adopt. And there is a stigma out there just in the culture in general. I mean, if you're single and you are 30, it doesn't matter if you're wanting to adopt. There's just a stigma in general. And so one of the things to remember with that is that single people by law are able to adopt. And so the way that you overcome that stigma is just going out there and doing it. Because you can't change the way that people are going to see you, or you can't change the way that people think about single people adopting. You can only choose you can only choose to do what you're going to do. And so when you put your foot forward and you say, you know what, I know I'm single and I know there's a stigma out there, I'm going to recognize that there's a stigma, but I'm going to do it anyway. That will be the first step that you can take to actually start your adoption journey and just kind of, put to the side what people are saying and move forward with your adoption with confidence. There's also a bias that comes when you say you're single. So even if you go to some agency's website, for example, they'll actually tell you on their website that, yes, we can help you adopt, but if you're single, it might take you longer because they don't want you to think that you can just come to their agency and adopt just like other married couples do. But that's not always true. Okay, there are so many single people that are adopting. It's really a matter of you just following a step-by-step plan, an adoption blueprint that works for everybody who is an adult and wants to adopt. An adoption blueprint does not discriminate if you're married or not. Okay, so there is this bias, especially if you're wanting to adopt from foster care or if you're a single dad. There's a huge bias with single male who are wanting to adopt, right, for obvious reasons. But there are also a lot of single dads out there who are amazing. Okay, take this guy right here. He's been a foster dad now for I don't even know how long, and he has gained such an amazing following and so many accolades because he just loves kids, and he was tired of waiting until he got married, and he felt like this was his calling, that I have a home. I'm not doing anything else with myself. I'm single and I can open up my home to kids. Why not? And now I think he's adopted, I don't know if he's adopted all his kids, but he's adopted at least the first one, and he's been fostering now for years, okay? So even though there is a bias and a stigma when it comes specifically to single people, you have to be able to get in the mindset of, you know what, it doesn't matter, I can adopt, even though the culture puts the stigma on me that somehow I'm less than because I'm single. Being single is not like you're paralyzed. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you're not in a relationship, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. So whether you're in a relationship or not, doesn't change the fact that you can still legally adopt a child. So how to overcome that stigma and the bias that a lot of single people face when it comes to adoption is understanding that yes, it's out there, but deciding that you're going to adopt anyway, despite the stigma and despite the bias. Now, one of the things that I want to note really quick about bias with single people when it comes to foster care is that, believe it or not, there are kids who actually need to be placed with single fathers because of the abuse and neglect that they suffered with females. Some kids can only do well with a male in the home, like a single male. And some caseworkers will actually recommend that for some kids because of behaviors they've had and because of their history. They'll say that kid actually needs a single male. And so, believe it or not, single males are really needed in the foster care system. Same thing with a single woman. There are some kids who cannot be with a male because of the abuse and neglect they suffered at the hands of males. And so they actually need to be in a single woman's home. So not a couple, just a single woman. And a lot of kids actually need to be with just a single individual. So again, even though there's stigma and there is bias when it comes to that, the foster care system needs you. The kids in foster care need you. All right, challenge number 2 that single people face when it comes to adoption is there are not a lot of great resources out there for how to adopt as a single person, especially if you're a person of color, okay? But funny enough, people of color are on high demand right now when it comes to adoption because unfortunately there's so many kids in foster care who are waiting to be adopted who are kids of color. I mean, of course, there are kids of all different colors who are waiting to be adopted, but there just happens to be a higher number of kids of color who are in the foster care system waiting to be adopted. So if you're a person of color and you're single, believe me when I tell you that you are much needed. And that there are some expectant moms out there who want their child to be placed with single people of color, okay? So even though there are not many resources that are tailored specifically to single people adopting, there are a ton of resources where you can actually learn just how to go through the adoption process, like what we provide in the Adoption Success Accelerator program for you. This is not, it doesn't discriminate whether you're single or married. This is for anyone who wants to be positioned to go through the adoption process and adopt successfully without all the pitfalls along the way, without just wasting precious time and also a lot of money. And so I have a ton of single students in my class right now who are going through the adoption process. And again, the adoption process works for anyone, whether you're married or single, as long as you are able to adopt legally in your state or in other states, you can adopt. So don't let the fact that there are not resources specifically tailored to you in your singleness, don't let that stop you from starting the adoption process. Challenge number 3 that single people face when adopting is what you never think about, which is really the emotional side of the adoption process. With adoption, there's a roller coaster of emotions that come with it. So for example, like if you're married, you have your spouse that you can talk to. But one of the challenges of going through the emotional process of adoption for single people is you don't have a spouse that you can just talk to all the time and talk through all of those feelings that are coming up as you're going through the process. And as a single person, if you don't have a support, that will be one of the biggest challenges that you face when you're going through the adoption process is who do I go to be able to talk through these emotions, talk through these feelings, talk through these roller coaster of emotions that are coming as I'm going through the adoption journey itself. The adoption process itself, like the step-by-step steps you need to take, the step-by-step steps, the A to Z steps that you need to take to go through the process, that's not hard. It's what you can't control during the adoption process that makes it especially hard. All the questions and the emotions that come with it. What if you change your mind? What if you find out something during the process after you've already talked to mom and now you have to back out because you don't think that you're able to do this, and now you have this emotional connection to this birth mom and the baby, and you don't want anything to happen to this baby now, even if mom decides to keep her baby. So there's all these emotions that come through the adoption process that is one of the things that I find a lot of single people don't think about as they're starting the adoption journey. So that leads me right into challenge number 4, a support system. I cannot overemphasize how important it is for you as a single person to have a support system when you want to start your adoption journey, okay? That's one of the challenges that a lot of single people face because some single people don't have a big support system. Maybe you live far away from your family, right? You have a career somewhere and your parents and your uncles and aunts and everybody live in a different state. So wherever you are, Your number one thing before you even start the adoption journey is you really want to cultivate a very, very strong support system so that you have people you can go to when you have questions. When the emotional roller coaster of adoption hits you, you have people you can talk to. You have people who are supporting you. You don't feel all alone and not knowing what to do, and you're just alone with all of these really, really hard feelings. So having a support system is absolutely imperative and can either make or break your adoption journey as a single person. Okay, so that's very important. Now let's talk about challenge number 5, which is the type of information that you are feeding yourself. Now, if you start scrolling on Facebook, you're going to find a ton of posts that tell you how hard it is to adopt as a single person, why you should not even try. Some people, it's been taking them years and years to adopt. And so you get a lot of negative information when, as a single person, you're trying to figure out how to start your adoption process. It's really important for you to overcome this challenge is to really be careful the information that you're feeding yourself. So here on my channel, I teach you how to adopt, and I show you how it is possible for any adult who has a desire to adopt. Obviously, as long as you don't have a criminal history, as long as you actually love kids and that's what you want to do, and you have a clean record, right? It's in your heart to be a parent. And so the type of information you're feeding yourself is a big challenge for single people, again, because they're getting all this negative feedback and it's reinforcing the stigma and the bias of just being single. And it's easy to forget that being single is not a crime. That being single is just where you are in life today. And there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you because you're single. Okay? And so be really careful the type of information that you're feeding yourself. Challenge number 6, your mindset. A lot of single people think, if my profile is shown to a birth mom and it's me as a single person versus another married couple, surely she's going to pick the married couple, right? Wrong. This is the thing. Expectant moms have preferences about who they want to place their babies with. There are expectant moms who wants to place their babies with single people. There are expectant moms who want to place their babies with married couples. There's expectant moms who want to place their babies with married couples with no children. There are some expectant moms who want to place their babies with married couples with children because they want their baby to have siblings. Expectant moms decide who they want to place their babies with. And believe it or not, there's some expectant moms who see profiles of married couples and they choose the single person over the married couple. So your singleness is not going to deter an expectant mom who's looking for you. So if you don't put yourself out there and you don't try, you'll never see the expectant mom who's actually looking for you. Because again, there are a lot of single people adopting, and they're adopting because expectant moms are choosing them. And so if so many single people adopting and adopting from foster care to you, why not you? Right? And so sometimes the mindset of a single person is actually the thing that's keeping you from moving forward in your adoption journey. Okay, you are much needed in the foster care system. If foster care adoption is what's on your heart, you are much needed. We need so many more people like you who love kids and who just want to adopt and give them a good, loving, and safe home. And so comparing yourself with married couples is not going to help you. So how to overcome that? See yourself as someone who is important, who has a lot to give, no matter what your relationship status is. Challenge number 7, your living situation. That's one of the most frequently asked questions that I get actually for adoption, especially from single people, is it okay to adopt if I live in an apartment, right? Living in an apartment does not deter you at all from adopting. As long as your place is safe, you have a place for the child, your apartment is fine. The other question that I get a lot with living situations, that's a challenge for single people, is what if I live with my parents? Because a lot of single people in their 30s are living with their parents because they're trying to save money, and that's totally fine. I mean, so many people do that. And sometimes that's the best choice that you can make to put yourself in a better financial spot. And again, when you're doing foster care adoption, the agency and the caseworkers, they're going to do a home study for you to be able to make sure that you are available to adopt and eligible to adopt. But if you're living with other adults in the home, they're also going to do background checks on those people in the home to make sure that everybody that's in the house is okay, right? They're not criminals. And if they leave you with permanently, they want to know things like, are there people that just come in and out of your house all the time? Or is this that you just live with your parents or you live with your brother and you guys have been doing this now for a while and this is just how you choose to live? That's very different. And the caseworker is going to assess whether they think that whole living situation is going to be the best thing for a child, okay? So living with your parents, living with relatives, and that's just kind of what you've been doing for a while, or living in an apartment is not going to deter you from adopting. Okay, you don't need to have a huge, beautiful home to adopt. You just need your space to be safe. You need your space to be open to be able to have a child. You need to be financially stable where you can actually take care of yourself financially and also take care of a child financially. Obviously not be a criminal. And so those are all, and be healthy. You know, you want to be healthy. So those are all just kind of basic things that you need to adopt as a person. Okay? If you're single and you want to adopt, click the link below to grab my free course on the 3 biggest mistakes that hopeful adoptive parents make and how to avoid them. If you want to know more about the different types of adoptions available to you as a single person, click this video right here to watch that next. And thanks for watching so much, guys. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.